2 months ago, I literally hadn't finished a book in over 10 years. But then I decided that I wanted to try and become a reader, a book girly, if you will. And now I literally always have a book in my hand. So here are the books that turned me into a book girly and the books you have to read this summer. Have to. Non-negotiable. Starting off with It's a Love Story by Annabelle Monaghan. One I haven't seen that many people talk about. I literally just walked into Barnes & Noble and saw this and decided to pick it up. One, because look at that cover. One of the best covers ever. Also, it perfectly matches my Stanley. And I don't know why, but it makes me unreasonably happy. I just like colors and aesthetics. A good book cover speaks to me. I know that's like the one thing you're not supposed to do is judge a book by its cover, but I had to, because look at that. And in this case, the cover perfectly matched what's inside. This is an incredible book. This book is about Jane, who's a former child star turned creative executive at a Hollywood studio, who's just optioned a script that she really believes in. And in an effort to get her studio to greenlight the project, she says she has a connection to a famous singer that could get a song in the movie to make it more popular. She may be stretching the truth a little, so this follows her journey navigating that situation, along with also navigating dealing with the cinematographer that always shoots her projects down. But he happens to believe in the script too, so he decides to help her out in her quest to get this famous singer to sing a song for the movie. I don't know if that sounds super compelling, but something about the writing in this book, I flew through it. It probably took me about a day or two to finish. And it just has such classic romance tropes, but not in like a cheesy way. It really leans into being called It's a Love Story because it is just a beautiful, fun, not cliche in a bad way, just kind of poking fun and pain homage to just what a rom-com should be. Also, it's a perfect summer read because it's in a little quaint beach town. That's the dream. It just makes me want to be in a quaint beach town reading this book. This is incredible. I'd give it 4.75 stars. One of the reasons I'm taking a fraction of a point away is that towards the end of the book, it gets extremely stressful, but still a fantastic book. Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. I know anything by Emily Henry is gonna be super popular already, but if you've heard about this book and think, maybe that doesn't sound that interesting or just haven't picked it up yet, let me tell you, you have to. You literally have to. This could be my favorite book that I've read in the last 2 months, which was really unexpected for me because I know it's kind of like on the historical fiction / romance side, but it is 100% worth the hype. It's about 2 writers that travel to this little beachy island in Georgia to compete to write the biography of a former socialite. And just as all the Emily Henry books that I've read, this has incredible dialogue. Honestly, some of the best ever. Amazing competition, banter, connection between Hayden and Alice, the 2 writers. And such an interesting story of Margaret and her life and recounting the events while she's still maintaining some mystery. Literally incredible. A rich, like well-rounded book and story. This is a easy 5-star book. I feel like I don't need to spend too long talking about the other 2 Emily Henry books that I've read, which is Funny Story and Beach Read, just because I feel like they're just classics of our generation. Beach Read, this was one of the first books I read on my journey to becoming a book girly, which I did post a video about if you want to see kind of how I got here. This is probably the best, just like classic romance book that I've read so far. Good romance, amazing writing, amazing banter as always. Once again, technically this one's on a lake, but there's still a beach, so it counts. This book is about Augustus and January, 10 out of 10 names, love it, who are both writers and they happen to be living next to each other in this small town for the summer. And while they may both be writers, they write drastically different genres, so they decide to make a little deal where they swap genres, write a book, and see if they can both do it. And that just leads to so many fun interactions between the 2 of them, and it is just so good. Beach Read, I have to give a 5 out of 5. Funny Story is about Daphne and Miles, who unexpectedly had to become roommates because Daphne's fiance and Miles' girlfriend decided to run off together. While they're both distraught at first, they start to connect, and this one's just like, it's sweet, it's fun, it's just good. So far, Emily Henry does not miss for me. No notes, really. Funny Story has to be a 4.75. The Love Haters by Catherine Center. Something I will say about Catherine Center books, the easiest books to read through quickly. I think I finished it 19 hours after I started it. As somebody who literally never read before 2 months ago, that's how easy it is to read her books. Catherine Center in her books likes to kind of mix things up as well. In pretty much every Catherine Center book I've read, there's kind of something that happens that's like, oh, like you just don't see it coming. Or you kind of do, but it's like, would that happen in a romance book? And then it does. Also, so far, all of her books are not like overtly spicy. I think they call it closed door, and I don't like spicy, so points for her. The Love Haters by Catherine Center, so summery. Once again, it's in a little beach town, and it follows the story of Katie and Hutch. Katie works for a videography company, and Hutch is a famous Coast Guard rescue swimmer. And Katie is tasked with filming a commercial for the Coast Guard to promote recruitment. But the problem is Katie can't swim, and this assignment hinges on the ability to swim. And it just makes for a lot of sweet, funny moments between the main characters. There's a lot of personal growth for Katie in this book as well, which I really, really liked that storyline. I just love when they really like build the characters well and really make you root for them. And I found that that was very easy to do in this book. I will say, no spoilers, but this book gets probably like a 4.25 for me, because the thing that I was talking about earlier where Catherine Center adds things that are like a little bit like unique for like a romance genre, I didn't love in this book. I felt like it was a little bit too far-fetched for me, but everything came together really well at the end and still absolutely love it. Highly recommend. Hello Stranger, Catherine Center. I loved this book so much, and I truly didn't think I would, because personally I think it takes a minute to get into this one. I feel like it like really hits its stride around page 80. This book is about Sadie, who's a portrait artist who happens to just have been named a finalist in a big portrait painting competition. But suddenly she has an accident that leaves her without facial recognition. So this is the story of her dealing with that, trying to overcome it, while having some budding romantic interests with her veterinarian and a man in her building, and just trying to navigate it all without being able to see anyone's face, not even her own. And I know it sounds kind of wild, and honestly, when I read the synopsis, I wasn't like super interested in it, and I put off reading it for a second, but this could be my favorite Catherine Center book. I loved it. I feel like it was so charming, so sweet, funny. It's just a wonderful book. But yeah, I would say it takes a minute to like fully get into it, but once you do, it's incredible to the very end. So this is 5 stars. It has to be. I dropped on the floor. It was an accident. Additionally, I did read most of House Across the Lake by Riley Sager, which, not a romance book, it's very much so thriller, suspense. I liked a lot of the first half. I did feel like it was dragging on too much, but then it also looked like it was getting a little bit too dark for me. I like mysterious, I like to not know what's going on, I like a plot twist, but I didn't like the direction that that book was headed. If you don't get scared easily, it's probably a really wonderful book, and honestly, I do think I'll finish it at some point. It was one of 2 books that I haven't finished, and this is the other. Till Summer Do Us Part by Megan Quinn. This, once again, I just walked into Barnes & Noble, read the back, and thought it sounded so good, so I got it. And I made it to about page 300 out of about 400, and I just had to put it down. This book is about Scotty and Wilder, and in an effort to fit in with all of her married co-workers, Scotty lies and says that she has a husband. But the reason she's not wearing a ring is because they're not doing so good. Unfortunately for her, her boss's husband is a top marriage counselor, and she offers his counseling services. So Scotty has to scramble and find a man to pretend to be her husband for a counseling session. And her best friend's brother happens to step in. This somehow leads to them going to a marriage boot camp with all of her co-workers and having to pretend to be a married couple the whole time. Based on that premise, obsessed. That sounds so good, which is why I bought it. Also, one of the prettiest books. I've never seen such beautiful details. But in this case, judging a book by its cover didn't quite work for me. But I will say, it's 100% an interesting story, and this is all personal preference. So if you don't have my personal preferences, pick up this book, you'll love it. But as somebody who just doesn't like spice, the spice in this book was almost unavoidable. Not necessarily like the scenes, but just like everything discussed. It's a constant topic of conversation that just does not stop, to the point where you can't just skip spicy scenes like some of the other books. For example, Emily Henry books, it's pretty easy to just skip a few pages and keep reading. For me personally, just because of the large quantity of just like spicy material throughout, I just didn't like it. It just wasn't my preference. So if you like spice and like things like that being discussed super heavily through much of the book, then you'll love this. If you don't like spice, you might hate hate it. I didn't hate it, but it was just uncomfy. The first book that I read and finished in this journey was The Bodyguard by Catherine Center, which I don't currently have because I have lent it out, but I would highly, highly recommend The Bodyguard. The Bodyguard is about a girl who is a high-profile bodyguard, security agent type girl, and she gets assigned to kind of undercover protect this movie star Jack, who has recently had some threats against him. But he's the only one in his life that knows that she's been assigned to him. So, in order to protect his family, he has to tell them that the agent is his new girlfriend. So, they have to pretend to be in a relationship in order to keep him safe, and it just is a sweet, fun time. Obviously, they have to spend so much time together and with his family. A lot of it takes place in Texas on like a ranch. It just is like summery vibes. So Bodyguard, 4.5. I always say there's one thing I would change about that book. Next, Romcommerce by Catherine Center. This follows Emma and Charlie, both writers, just at different levels. Emma has put family and personal responsibility over her career, while Charlie is one of the most famous story writers in Hollywood. They happen to both share the same agent, so when Charlie has to write a romantic comedy when he's used to action and it doesn't come out great, Emma is called in to help it out because rom-coms are her specialty. And overall, there were a lot of things that I loved about this book. I still would say highly recommend. I feel like they made Charlie not the most likable male lead. Just personally, I think he's a little bit off-putting, but I think most people would disagree with me. Still, all that included, it's still a 4.5. It's still a fantastic book and still summery. Still just like warm, sunny, summery vibe. Last but not least, The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I've never read an Ali Hazelwood book before, but this is so far so good. I'm on page 244 of about 400. And this also was a bit of a slow burn. Took a while for me to get into it, but so far, it's good. It's good. Classic fake dating scenario. But since I haven't finished it, I'll leave my full thoughts about this in a pinned comment when I do. Also, I've just discovered audiobooks on Spotify, and I've just started listening to One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. And so far, so good. I haven't tried listening to an audiobook before, so I'm really curious to see how that goes. Once again, I'll leave my thoughts. And this book follows Alice, who's a photographer, and her grandmother, who's just had a hip replacement surgery that she's trying to recover from, as they go to a cottage on a lake to just get themselves out of a rut while Alice takes care of her grandmother as she heals. Now, this is the same lake house that Alice went to as a child where she's discovered her love for photography. Additionally, there's a handyman that's been doing work on the place named Charlie, who seems to have his eyes set on Alice. So, like I said, I just started it. Once again, I can add my thoughts when I finish in a pinned comment, but I'm hopeful about it. We'll see how I feel about an audiobook. And those are the books that I've read in the last month and a half since losing my title of book hater. If you like this type of content, if you like to read, or if you're interested in becoming a former book hater as well, please stick around. I'd love to make more book content because it's literally now my favorite thing in the world to do. And I'd love to chat about it with you all. Thank you. If you want to be part of the fam, please stick around, subscribe, and I'll see you soon.